Always Irish. Yeah. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. What are you doing? Don't do this to me, Harry. The Ohio State. It's Ohio State. What do you mean, the? It's a poison. I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing. Doing a damn thing. The call-in line. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Irish. Yeah, that's right. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Oh, Irish. Irish. Yeah.
Hands off to Estime, up the middle, keeps his feet running, he'll do it, he'll score, 5, touchdown Irish! Audric Estime puts Notre Dame back on top.
That's right. Welcome in, welcome back, everybody. It's a Victory Monday. I'm in a better mood, but there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of damn questions. It's a Victory Monday. I got the chain can come back on. We won a game. We're back on, whatever. Irish Nation takes a collective exhale. But there's a lot of questions. Edition of the Always Irish Morning Show. I'm just glad to be talking about them after win. I'm in a lot better mood to talk about everything Notre Dame needs to clean up and get right. Why does this look like that? Why doesn't this look good enough in this and that? We're going to do all that. But it's a Victory Monday. It's a Victory Monday. And that's the most important thing. So, but you guys, the chat is freaking me out. Because all the stuff I've been sitting on that's on my notes, rattling around in these cobwebs called John's brain, you guys are bringing up a lot of the stuff that I was going to throw at you and say, where's the reality here? But I'm just glad to be doing this on a Victory Monday, and that is the most important part of all this. Anything we're going to talk about, people calling with complaints, whatever, I got them too. Getting this win is the biggest storyline of the weekend, okay? Thank you for being here. You can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Johnny as well. Notifications on that way you're alerted every time a new episode drops. I know you don't want to miss it. Twitter, search bar, Always Irish, rat. Always Irish Inc. Emails, alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want it. You can get it. The call-in lines. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Instagram, Facebook, Always Irish Inc. USA Today, Fighting Irish Wire. Read all about it, everybody. Every day we got articles. I got a couple up about the game and where Notre Dame's at in the schedule and what they got coming at and all that. All of that, okay? Look at that. We got callers. I'm going to get right to you. Let me get through a couple notes, and then I'll throw it to you guys. And Sly Fox, anytime you're wearing the Flavor Flav, it's a good day, John. Only after win. You can't. You're not allowed to wear a pimp chain if you're going to lose. I don't feel comfortable doing that. That's only after you win. Okay, that's the rules here. It's the only rules I feel comfortable going by. So, man, first things first, thanks everybody that joined Saturday night. Those numbers are up. And I thought it was just an Ohio State thing. They were big again right after this one. They're big at first, and then they go down throughout the night. People find stuff to do, but the numbers are good. Thank you. We're getting new callers in. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. That's what you want. So the show's growing on a Saturday, on the weekend. So that's beautiful. So thank you. So after having some time to think about all this, and I struggle with it. You want Notre Dame to play better. You want them to score more points. You wanted them to finish off Ohio State. You struggled offensively against Duke. You won the game. It was down to the wire, all of this. And it's like, what's the reality of all this? Like, is the Notre Dame offense getting worse? Or are we 21-14? Not enough. Not winning football. Not enough. It's just not. 21-14 is not, you're not scoring enough to make it real life football. And your defense is doing a good job keeping you in it. 21-14 ain't enough to win modern college football games. So then I'm going, is this a case of Notre Dame's regressing offensively? Is it a case of they played two of maybe the best defenses in football the last 2 weeks? Are you saying we got a bunch of injuries again? Now they're not doing even what they thought they could do, which was already going to be limited because of the wide receivers. Do you not think Parker's doing a good enough job? Or what's the reality? That's what I'm trying to figure out. What's the reality? And my suspicion is it's probably everything. It's probably a little bit of everything. Notre Dame played two really, really good defenses, and the scoring went down. They're also, isn't it crystal clear to everybody the offense isn't operating at peak efficiency? Whatever you think that is in your mind, the last 2 weeks, a lot of scoring opportunities, didn't put it in the end zone. So it's all probably true. The injuries now are not helping. Playing good defenses in these big time games probably isn't helping. You're just kind of, we need to come out of this. Okay. And those are good defenses. Maybe I am underselling how good those two defenses are we just played. But the way that we played, you needed more than 21-14. And the other thing is people were like, well, 21-14, really good defenses that would do. But there's more meat on that bone, I think. I just think there's more meat on that bone. Let's look at a couple of the chats. So I want to know where you guys fall. But the bottom line is this game was huge. It was massive. It was a massive must-have for this year. It stabilized what could have been some really rocky seas for the early part of the Freeman tenure. Everything was working against us in this ballgame. And when I say everything, I mean everything. The vibes, just the moment, it was all working against us. The season was on the line. Some of Freeman's credibility was on the line after what happened last week. And then if you weren't able to get this win, there'd be way more questions wrapped into it. Notre Dame had every reason to lie down and play dead and get beat against Duke, and they didn't. They won, and they deserve credit for it. That's the most important thing. And I'm not going to not let that be the main focus today. They absolutely had this win to save everything, and they got it. It's easy to say, oh, the players just need to block out what happened against OSU and act like it didn't happen and just move on. Those are human beings too. We all had a rough last week. So did they. They did. They just did. They're humans. They felt what we felt. And they overcame it and they won. I'm making sure that stays the number one bullet point because it needs to be. That was the win that saved whatever this season's going to be or not be. For you to even find out what it could be or not be, you had to have this win and they found a way to get it done. Well, we made a big deal about they didn't know how to close against Ohio State. Well, 1 week later, they closed. Isn't that what we wanted? I mean, it didn't look like the smoothest close coming from behind. That's not how you picture a close. But they couldn't close the week before. And then on the last drive, they made the plays and closed this time. Okay. But this team does have they're leaking a little oil. It'd be nice to have better health. Definitely have better health, especially in the wide receiver room, which is already an issue even when they're healthy. Missed tackles are still a problem. The penalties are absurd. Special teams is regressing. And the offense, I'm just a little confused. And I don't know what the reality is. Two good defenses. We're kind of banged up. I don't, there's something going on there. But it's a collective exhale. Be done with the Ohio State into Duke shitstorm cluster of emotion and everything going on. Regroup, refocus, get back to work with a pep in your step after a win. Life isn't getting any easier with Louisville and Southern Cal. And you got to go out there, play good defense again in Louisville, and score more points. Okay? And so redemption, man. Good for Freeman. Needed this win in the most desperate way. Got it. Audric driving a stake through their heart to end the game like he should have had the chance to do 2 weeks in a row. Evans stepped up when you needed a ball catcher, knowing everybody was banged up in the wide receiver situation. He stepped up. Like, I just want to make sure whatever complaints we're all going to have, they're under the frame of the main mission was accomplished. And it wasn't an easy one because all these dynamics. I am starting to just hope we played two of the best defenses in football back-to-back weeks, and now things will start loosening up for us a little bit in the next 2 games. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to see. So let's see a couple of these chats and some supers, and we'll get to the calls. 4017 holler, always Irish art. Thank you, my friend. Call topics 502. Marmaduke, key cards, Johnny Cash. What's with the weather? Well, there you go. You got a well-rounded sample there on a Monday morning, always Irish art. Thank you for the donation. $5 holler from Mike. This is not how I expected that game to go. There's a lot to learn, but better to discuss after win rather than a loss like LSU. Yaps, that's my main point. You needed this win to save this season, and I went into it saying any way you get a win, I'm going to be happy about it, and I am. That doesn't mean that right when I say any win I'd be happy with, that you need to almost cause me to die 2 weeks in a row to get it. Oh, my gosh. $2 holler from Steven. We won, ranked opponent on the road, blood pressure. Yeah, that's about it. And again, in those moments, it's hard to have that perspective of understanding that this game was a hangover carryover of Ohio State, whether we all wanted it and the team wanted it or not. And you just had to fight through it. And the guys did it. And I'm proud of them for that. This is a great opportunity to get back to work this week, feeling better about yourselves after a win and go into Louisville with a clearer mind. That's a big, I just felt like everybody was carrying this extra weight of the week before into Duke. As much as you wanted to shake it off, I just felt like it lingered on us. And you knew that, and you felt the weight of that, and they had to overcome it, and they did. So I don't know what's the reality. $20 holler. 3 takeaways. Merriweather has his opportunity, should be benched and passed up for the season. Tired of the tight end being the number 1 wide receiver on the field. O-line hell no. And I'd rather see 3 30-yard field goals instead of 150. The problem is you don't have the bodies to bench Merriweather, even if you wanted to right now. I don't think you do. You literally don't. And so that's a problem right there. But I'm sick of the tight end being the target too. It's like, it felt like, I don't know. It just, some of this game, it felt like an old Reese Kelly playbook where it's like predictable. You know what we're going to do early and early downs. And then where's the tight end when on a big play? And that can't be, we need to be getting away from that. We need to be getting away from that because it's way too predictable. And even at home, you start to go, okay, I know where this is going to go, and I know what they're going to do there. Too predictable. And maybe they're going to be like, we don't have the guys right now. I don't know. So 312-988-15, I want to know where you fall on all this. The truth is probably a blend of everything that's been brought up. Everything. The teams we're playing is good. The circumstances are good. The roster isn't exactly complete even when healthy, and now they're injured. All of that gets into a stew, and before you know it, I'm losing my air 2 weekends in a row. Like, I don't know, man. Maybe that's just how this goes. $2 holler from Kenny Power. Stoked ND won it against Duke football team. Yeah, me too, man. Had to have it. Got to have it. Had to have it, man. Mike, yeah. I don't know, man. It's just... man, nothing's easy with it. All right, let's get to a couple donators. I want to know where you think the reality is here. What's your worry level? Where do you fall? What do you 21-14 ain't enough. I'm sorry. I understand you're playing good defenses, but I don't have Sam Hartman here to put up 21-14 in college football games, bro. I just don't. I don't. I would just like to think even against good defenses, you could find a little more meat on that bone. I don't know. Maybe I'm off. 361. Let's have a little fun. Thanks for the donation. What's up?
What's up, John? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm in a lot better mood to be breaking down any of this stuff after a win. But Notre Dame's in an interesting spot here in their schedule and the way it's played out and the way it looks. Now that we're a couple days away from that game and a full week and a few days from Ohio State, what are your takeaways?
So my concern is just what you said right before you went to me. We're playing championship level defense. Okay. And yeah, people will point to the 30-19 and the 10-man, all that crap, right? The reality is if you're giving up 17 to Ohio State and 14 to Duke, those should be double-digit wins. Like you said, we brought in Sam Hartman to not be what we've been seeing at quarterback.
Yeah.
And it looked great the first few weeks. Okay, fine. OSU has a really good defense. Duke and Elko, they play very disciplined, good defense. But I still have questions about the decisions from a play calling perspective. Okay, yes, Merriweather dropped that deep shot in the first quarter, first drive. There were some attempts to throw the ball deep, and then there weren't. And it didn't make any sense to me, only because, like, they were there. They weren't hitting them. That has something to do with the receivers. But Hartman was putting balls on the money at times, and we just stopped attempting to do that. The running game, Estime is quicker than he looks. Why are we attempting to run him up the center's ass every single time? And even the broadcast pointed out, look, the defensive ends are crashing down to the middle, stopping Estime from go. Well, let's recognize that and do something different. If you remember in the second half, there was a pitch out to Estime. Dude got 7 yards. We did it one time. Why are we not recognizing and adjusting? And it falls back on the coaches again in the second week in a row. And I hate to say that. That's my takeaway.
Yeah, man, it's just, Mike, I felt the last 2 weeks like the offense kind of is like the walls were kind of caving in on the offense a little bit, and they were getting pushed into this box to where it started looking more of what we've been used to seeing that we wanted to get away from. And I don't know if that's because they get conservative when they're playing better defenses, so everything kind of tightens up what they think they could do. I don't know whether for Duke it all got messed up because you didn't have your wide receivers out there and you have injuries there. And then execution, like I just don't know exactly where that's at. But am I wrong for thinking you brought Hartman in here to do a little more than what we're getting, even against tough defenses? Or am I asking for too much that I expected a little more? I don't know the answer. I'm asking.
Yeah, I don't either. The one thing that I can take away from a Sam Hartman perspective is, and Freeman said it post game, the guy learned from last week, being the Ohio State game. Like the few runs he did have, you could see he's progressing and recognizing what he has to do as the Notre Dame quarterback. And you know what? If I got to do it, I got to do it. And you got to think, when he escaped the pocket and hits Rico Flores right in the freaking face and he drops it, he throws a perfect deep ball, and maybe a half a yard too deep for Merriweather in the first quarter. The ball where Merriweather pushed off, I don't agree with the flag, but it was right where it needed to be from Hartman's standpoint. He drops it. Hartman's got to be thinking, man, if they're not going to catch it, what are my options here? And you saw a little bit tougher running from him, and maybe he's getting in his own head about, do I want to take this shot because I keep putting it where I'm supposed to, and these guys aren't making the plays. I wonder if that's becoming part of the equation.
Yeah, man, you know what I would like to see is you got through this 2-game stretch, really, really tough dynamics, tough games, tough defenses, and all that. I'm really hoping things loosen back up a little bit. I understand Louisville is going to be another tough environment, but I'm kind of hopeful the offense can have a little more juice early to kind of knock us out of this kind of lower offensive output. And it's just, listen, I know those are good teams with good defenses. I don't like the amount of points. And I know they're tough defenses. I'm just saying, I still wanted a little more. I don't know. And so I'm hoping maybe this week we're in a better spot to be able to get back into a groove where you're not scoring 2 or 3 times a game. That's all.
John, how do you know? You probably do. How many of the Notre Dame's first 5 drives crossed the 50 into Duke territory?
Oh boy, I don't even know.
It was all of them. All of them. All 5 drives. The first 5 Notre Dame drives ended in Duke territory.
Okay, so then what does that say, Mike? What does that say? Because early in the Ohio State game, Notre Dame was moving the ball the first couple drives and weren't putting up the points you need. So where does that fall then? Is that execution? Are they getting too cute? Or do you chalk it up to the good defenses? Like if you're moving the ball early in both games and not scoring any points, what do you have for that?
I think it goes back to the most highlighted instance is the Ohio State stuff. I think they're outthinking themselves collectively. You're moving the ball. That was one of my biggest gripes about Tommy Rees is we found something that worked, and then for whatever reason he decided to stop doing it because it's like they're going to figure it out eventually. So let's stop doing it before they figure it out. Well, hold on. Let's let them figure it out before we stop it. And I feel like that's a little bit of what's going on. Things are working, things are moving, and then, they're going to figure this out. So let's break away from it before they figure us out. Meanwhile, we're stopping our own momentum. Not to mention, it's becoming an issue. We cannot think, we're in field goal range, we're good. F that. Screw that. We're not in field goal range ever anymore.
Yeah,
we've all been making the jump.
Hey, you can't trust. I can't trust that guy under 50%. I gotta look at that as I'm not trusting that. That changes my calculus in my brain.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it too. Is Freeman knows this guy can kick it 60 yards. Well, that's great. It's like the golfer. It's a 330 off the tee, but it's 100 yards into the woods. Who gives a crap? Yeah, that helps nobody.
You're looking at him. You're looking at him. I'm the king of 300 plus, but left or right, buddy. I need an open course, all right? I need an open course where I can hook or slice one and then just hit it back to my hole.
So if Parker and Freeman are thinking, our kicker's got the leg for whatever distance, so they modify their play calling to not have a, disastrous play, turnover, whatever, with the idea that, in the back pocket, we got this kicker. Then you eliminate that mindset. It's got to be touchdown or bust at this point.
Man, it is just, it's just a little frustrating to watch, but I'm open to the idea that all of these circumstances and the opponent you're playing might have a lot to do with all this. And that's why I'm open this week we see something different. So I don't know, Mike. There are little red flags popping up here on offense that make you feel uncomfortable that weren't there earlier in the year. And maybe that's the opponent. We got into the tougher stretch and things tightened up, and now you're seeing some limitations on Notre Dame's side with personnel or whatever, maybe some inexperience with Parker. I mean, he's called plays before. It's been a while. So I don't know, man, but it just feels good to even be breaking down these questions after a win. And it was one they absolutely had to have.
Yeah, and the other thing that we can't quantify is Notre Dame's now won 30 straight games against the ACC.
Yep.
You have to think that Duke, Louisville, whoever I'm spacing now, who's coming up, Clemson, that you've got to be thinking like they're thinking, F these guys. They're not even in this conference. Let's go out and whip their ass, and that's going to be that. And so you can't quantify that. So maybe there's an element of, yes, Duke played good defense. Got to give credit. They're way better than I expected, honestly, from what I looked at and reviewed and whatever. But we got to overcome that too. So yes, win the game. We got Louisville next, and you got to see some progression from the offense, because not to look too far ahead, but if USC is going to come in and we're only putting up 20, 25 a game, Mike,
it's on my radar. Yeah. And I was going to say what Andrew Gilmore just said. Yeah. The ACC reps got that message too of Notre Dame's making us all look bad. Somebody needs to beat them. The ACC referee crews are in that meeting too, Mike. Don't forget that. They're taking notes.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're in there too.
I hate focusing on the refs, but I've never watched so many games where you come back from the commercial. You come back from a commercial break, and what you saw and was called is now completely different.
Yeah.
They went to a commercial break and changed everything.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah, I know. It's really bad. And then that's where I get down to what Jimmy Johnson said in '88. He told his guys, you're going back then, it was a little different. And he's going, you're going to Notre Dame. You leave it in the refs' hands, we're going to lose. It's at their place. It cannot be close enough to where one call makes us blow this game. Like I don't know, man. So tough dynamics, Mike. And I'm hopeful that I'm hopeful this offense can get a little healthier, and then we'll be able to see, because the other thing, Mike, is, obviously you got to beat Louisville, another tough game. But I'm also looking at it as a ramp up to USC too. And I want to see that offense have a little bit more momentum and a little more juice as we hopefully get through Louisville and into that one. So, that's what I want to see.
Yeah. Last thing, because I know you got some callers. Last thing I'll say is, when was the last time you said this true freshman wide receiver is a big part of our offense? And man, I wish he was out there. I said that multiple times Saturday night. Yeah. Crazy.
Yep. So, Mike, it's a stressful month for Notre Dame. They're about halfway through it, and we'll get into Louisville later in the week. Maybe there's opportunities there for Notre Dame to get back on a good track on offense. We'll all feel better about. And so we'll see how it goes, Mike. But I feel a lot better today after a win, and all your dreams are still alive, and you saved the season, and that is the number one takeaway. Thanks for the donation and the call, Mike.
Of course.
Have a good week, buddy. Talk to you. Oh, man. Hold on a second. What is this? We got more phone calls. I'm going to give it to you guys. By the way, it's not lost on me. This person's name is the 10-man stand. Like in the most depressing way ever. That's hilarious. John, you told us the offense was going to be automatically better. Wrong. It's better. It's just not to the level you want it. Nobody was going to say that. I know the last 2 games have been hard, but they put up all those points in the first handful of games, and it was automatically better than what you were able to do last year. So I am right. I am not wrong. It's just you wanted them to look great in the last 2 games, and that didn't happen, and you're frustrated about it. The offense is automatically better. It is. It's just you didn't see enough of it in the last 2 games. But overall, they are way better. The numbers say they're way better. It's not just like but the numbers are way better than last year. I mean, come on. It's just you didn't get what you wanted out of the last 2 weeks. Yeah, look at this. Bring back Charlie Weiss. John and Pat, when I meet you at the tailgate, can I get your autograph? Yeah, only if you're wearing a Charlie Weiss old Adidas shirt there. I'll sign right on it and have Pat do the same. We'll each sign a sleeve. MJH Irish $5 Lou Holtz moves Ohio State football down 5 spots in his poll after the off week. Yeah, bitter Lou. I don't think they give him a vote. Oh, Joe. On another note, BK has successfully turned LSU's defense into what ND's was the majority of the time. I've been consuming some LSU media from people that do what I do for LSU since their game Saturday. Very interesting theme emerging. The LSU people that do what I do for LSU are going, we seem to be losing our edge. We don't have that LSU aggression and swag and that extra physical gear to get up for these games and really go throw people around. And they're going, it just seems way more docile and there's no killer instinct and everything's a mess. That's interesting. That's interesting. I've never heard any of those complaints before. Oh, man. That's funny. It's never not going to be funny, man. 773, you're talking to me. Good morning.
Morning, John. How are you?
Hey, what's up, Tom? Listen, man, I'm not letting the number one story not be that Notre Dame needed a win in the worst way to save this season in the early part of the Freeman tenure, and they fought for it and got it. That is the number one takeaway, the most important thing. That being said, Tom, I think people are getting a little itchy, specifically with the offensive side of the ball, saying, I kind of just want a little more. Is that fair of us, unfair, or do we have injuries and we played good defenses and that's just how it is? Where do you fall on this?
It's a culmination of all of the above, and I'll tell you why. So I went back and I dissected the video of the football game again. And here's my biggest takeaway. Number one, you're right. That we will look back on this victory, this game, and the victory as a pivotal game. There's no question about it. Because if we do lose that ball game, it's not going to be good. Now,
I think that not only practically for this season, but perceptually for Freeman's early tenure overall, this was one you had to have. And Tom, people are overlooking that part of it. Because we won probably, they're overlooking. If you were to drop this game, there's a whole lot more problems. You open the door, welcomed into your home if you found a way to lose this one. And that is a huge sidestep of a nightmare that you avoided. And that is, man, so practically and perceptually you had to have it and you got it. And I'm proud of the guys for it. That doesn't mean, though, you're not allowed to go, we need to be better here and better there. Like, you could do both. Credit them for that win they had to have and say we have some things here we got to get better. That's where I'm at.
But and I'm there as well. And when things started to get real hairy in the fourth quarter, all those things were coursing through my mind was, man, if we drop this now, what's going to happen? And so, like I said, this will prove to be a monumental game. But here's where something's missing and nobody's talking about it yet. So the winning touchdown drive, the winning touchdown play, if you remember correctly, Hartman was frantically looking at the sideline, looking for that play. As the clock's ticking down, and the game clock's down to 9 seconds, when he makes the decision, as he's frantically trying to get a play in, he audible, or he made the call because he knew he had the beast mode in his backfield. He's the one that made that call, because I'll guarantee you, dollars to donuts, Freeman and Parker were arguing about which play to call. So if you see him, you will know exact. If you go back and you watch that, you're going to see his franticness. He made the call. So what does that tell us? Does that tell us that he's doing this? And how many times is he doing this? And why did this? And why there was the problems that they had in the last 7 seconds of the Ohio State game? It's pretty telling. So I don't know. And if you also notice, the quarterbacks, Sam Hartman doesn't audible a lot. He stays away from audibling. I would let a 6-year quarterback, I'd give him a little bit more rein and let him
Tom,
and let him call.
If you're not going to let a 60-year guy with his credentials do it, then nobody's qualified to do it, right? Like, man, if you can't trust that guy to do it. But Tom, here's where I'm struggling. Where I'm struggling is how much of what feels to us like offensive regression is due to how tough these dynamics are and how good these defenses are we played the last 2 weeks, and how much of it is stuff we're not doing good enough or still don't have the guys or we're banged up or whatever. That's where I'm having trouble calculating it out. But those might be two of the best defenses in the country, and you played them back-to-back weeks, and it's going to make everybody's offense not look that great. I don't know, but I'm asking. I don't know, Tom. I'm just asking. Because 21-14 isn't why you have Hartman here. But there's teams that play good defense. So what's the reality?
Well, the reality is they are really good defense. I mean, Duke is not the 15th rated defense in the country for nothing. And if you noticed, they get real stingy, especially the defensive backfield gets real stingy inside the 30-yard line. So I don't think that's a fluke. But when I was watching some of the passing plays, the first caller asked why didn't they go down the field more often? I'll tell you what, some of those routes were open. So on the 22-yard or 27-yard pass that Mitchell Evans caught in the first drive, he just ran a regular simple seam route, and Rico Flores ran a 7 route to the corner, and he was wide ass open. So there was a lot of passing plays like that, but the problem was that defensive line was crashing in. Both ends were crashing down. So my question is, why, as the offensive coordinator, why aren't you trying to get to the perimeter? Either throw to the perimeter or run some toss sweeps or some buck sweeps. They ran one jet sweep and they ran it down, and it was a 7-yard gain. That was it. That was the only sweep all night. Everything else they ran was between the tackles.
Yeah.
So it's puzzling, but I'm going to tell you what. I watched the Louisville NC State game. I think Notre Dame's going to kill Louisville. I really do. I think they're going to gash that team. They've got good linebackers. They're quick, but they over pursue. And if they put in the right plan and the offensive line comes back together, and I'm glad they will. Plus, it sounds like we're going to have Jaden Greathouse back, which is huge.
Yeah, Tom, that's what I'm feeling, man. Tom, I'm feeling like this collective exhale, the Ohio State week blended into the Duke week emotionally for everybody. Okay, it just did.
Yes,
Don't tell me it shouldn't and block your mind out and move on to next week. this was a big moment, bigger than one game. Those emotions bled into last week, making it a tougher dynamic. And it was just tough, Tom. And now I hope you could take a collective exhale, get back to work. Everybody's mind will be in a better place. You're coming off a win now. Get a little out there. Have a very focused week of practice, and then have a tighter operation with our minds all screwed in right, heading to Louisville. I feel much, much better doing this than I did going into Duke. Just you're coming off a win, settle things down, and then kind of get back on a winning track here that we feel better about.
Well, and I agree with that. And so as you look at the schedule, geez, I wish they had a bye week this week or next week.
Hold on. Shh. Tom, don't give away my secrets. I got an article and an episode coming out this week about that exact topic and how it's scheduling malpractice that you don't have a bye till after your 8th game, and it's putting it right after USC is almost an insult to add it to injury.
Yeah.
Putting it right after that, you got 8 weeks in a row, and then after it, you get the bye. Oh, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
I got an article and an episode coming up about that. Don't get me started.
Okay, well.
But you made a lot of money going to Dublin,
alone.
though. You made a lot of money going to Dublin, though, so that makes it worth it. Okay? Whatever.
Well,
Whatever.
You know what? I agree. So I look forward to hearing the episode, but I'll tell you what, and that big word in the dictionary, if. So I think there's no question Notre Dame, even though that is going to be a loud, drunken, obstreperous crowd in Louisville, and it will be Saturday night. I think if we win that, we're going to win. I think we're going to crush them. I really do. But even if we don't, we're coming out of there with a W one way or another.
Then it really gets going. You want to talk about the must-win of must-wins that was already a must-win, and after Ohio State, it's a triple must-win. Like I already got that narrative. It was already a must-win no matter what. It's a triple must-win, but I got to worry about Louisville before I get into that one, Tom. 1 week.
That's exactly right.
One week at a time here. 1 week at a time here.
But after that, with the bye, and then the way the schedule sets up, look, this is our season. The next 2 weeks now.
Yep, absolutely.
The next 2 weeks is our season.
Yep.
And that's where it boils down to. I got tickets to the Southern Cal game. Are you guys going to be down there?
I was not planning on going. I wanted to do my show and be available for the big game. So I did my Central Michigan, and I'm planning on being down here in the basement.
Okay, because we're definitely going to be down there for that game. I just didn't know if you were going. So, but if they clean this stuff up, and I believe that the offensive line, I heard that Zeke Corral was telling another member of the media right after the game. It was right after the game. He said, that's the worst game I've played ever. And they've got to clean those penalties up. I think they're going to work on that. I like the maturity of these kids.
I really do. Dude, people are underplaying what a mess mentally last week was for everyone with Irish interests, Tom. No one wants to hear it. Nobody wants to hear it. Everybody wants to say, just move on with Ohio State, clear your mind, and go play the next game like it didn't happen. Life doesn't work that way when you're dealing with humans that felt that Tom, that specific level of football pain that's the outlier of like the worst you could ever lose a game in terms of pain. What it all meant. Notre Dame fans don't want to hear that, and they want to say you just move on and then you go win, and it's no, but there was an emotional hangover everybody with Irish interests had. This was going to be a struggle. It was weighing on you heavy. You felt it. Maybe we should just say, you got the win, let's move on, and we're all happy because this was important and you got it. Tom, I really appreciate the morning call. I hope you're doing well health-wise. Keep doing your tape research and call me back Wednesday and tell me what else you found, okay?
We'll do it. Talk to you then. Be good, guys.
Yep.
God bless.
Have a
Always
good-
Irish.
Oh, yeah. Have a good one. I love that dude, man. I could have some beers and talk football with that guy. The Ohio podcast. People who think Duke isn't good, especially defensively, didn't see how they beat Clemson. That's the best Duke team I've seen in my lifetime. Here's the issue, you guys. I believe they said Riley Leonard has a bad high ankle sprain with what happened at the end of the game. And you hate to see that. Oh, yeah, the strip sack. I love that. We've been asking to end the game. That's beautiful. But to see that guy get rolled up on, totally incidental. But to see that guy get rolled up on in the like at the end was brutal. You don't want that. You might want Riley Leonard to be Notre Dame's quarterback next year, but I'm not ready to talk about that yet. But, you know, you might be interested in that. I don't know. But Mike Elko's a damn good cut. You just knew this was going to be tough, and you just had to find a way, and they did. But Notre Dame fans are the way we are. You always want more. You always want more. Oh, yeah, but Pat's saying Indy needs Duke to keep winning. That was the thank you, Pat. That's the backside of this point is if Riley Leonard's out for a while, isn't Duke screwed then, even with the good defense? Like, I can't imagine they have a great backup quarterback. So that's the issue. Is Duke now going to take a hit because Riley Leonard's banged up? And then, yeah, he's going to be out. So then does that hurt them? Maybe they lose a couple games they wouldn't because he's out because we knocked them out. And then that knocks Duke down and you don't get credit for what it was. I don't know. So whatever. It's just tough, man. Oh, let's see. Andrew again. They are great defenses, but John, don't you think we left 2 TDs in the first half get away? We had the ball in their territory twice and only got 3 points. Yeah. All that talking I do and all my going off on a big tangent, how about I just answer that with yes? Like, Ohio's, here's the thing, though. When people want to say, John, you know, these are just good defenses and that's what happens or whatever, then I'll say, well, you moved the ball fairly decent early in the game against both of them. So if you were doing that, why couldn't you finish it off? It'd just make us feel better. Is it possible that we all thought with Hartman here, the offense would turn into something that isn't realistic? Like, I'm genuinely asking you guys that. Is it possible that with Hartman's arrival, we thought we were going to get more out of this, maybe Notre Dame's just not there yet? Maybe they're just not there yet with those wide receivers and everything. And it's like, well, early in the year, it seemed to work out fine when everybody was perfectly healthy. And you know that's not going to last in a wide receiver room all year. And that's why you need depth, and they don't have it. So now you're limited. Good job by Evans. You needed a pass catcher, a go-to guy. And he did it. One-handers, all that. But again, just saying, you had to have this win and you got it, man. You had to have it and you got it. That is the biggest takeaway. But I'll feel a lot better. I need Notre Dame to put up like 28 points in the first half against Louisville. Something like that to get us back in that offensive flow. Because I just don't like stacking. I don't care if you're playing the 85 Bears. I don't like having weeks where you're stacking low offensive point totals, okay? I understand good defenses. It's just I'm going to get nervous when you start lowering your score output against anybody. 818, good morning.
John, I can't do nothing for you, man. You got all these people on your back now. I can't do nothing for you, man. Flav got problems of his own.
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't think I want to start being compared to Flavor Flav, but I like my chain, okay? I like my chain.
I love it, too. I just wish that thing was, like, way bigger so that it would just be an exact replica. I guess it's pretty.
I know. You know what?
Hold that up, John. Hold that up. Hold that up.
You know what I'm thinking of doing? Dude, you know what
Let's see it, though. I want to see it. Hold it up. I can't see it. It's below the screen.
It isn't right now. You're delayed a little bit. Yeah, I got it up.
Okay. Got it.
Here's
Okay.
what
Yeah,
I
I haven't
think.
played a little bit.
Here's what I think I need to do. I might need to shorten the chain so that you could see the always Irish part because it hangs down below the screen.
Yes.
I might need to shorten the chain so that it shows. Yeah, I might look into that. Hey, Rodney.
Yeah, you need to wear that like a Superman, yeah, for sure.
Rodney, here's the deal, man. Notre Dame had to have this game to save the whole season and prevent a lot of dark questions about Freeman in a dark alley I didn't want to go down. They did it, but the Irish faithful are still a little worked up, man. What's the reality here? Where does Notre Dame sit in this pivotal part of the year?
John, it's not about, okay, so, after the game, I was elated that they won. I kept things very calm. We talked about this already. Man, I worked so hard at that too. I'm like, I'm not going to let this, they're going to lose. I know it, but I'm just going to, and then they won and they snapped victory out of the jaws of defeat. No one's really, I think a couple people mentioned this. Do you realize we played 2 weeks in a row, probably two of the top 5 defensive minds in the game right now? I mean, other than Knowles and Elko, maybe you could throw in Kirby Smart in there. Maybe you could throw in Venables, Saban at Alabama. But, I mean, those are probably two of the top 5 defensive minds 2 weeks in a row. And the thing is, on teams like that, you got to get up on them quick, and Notre Dame had the offensive production to do that and then didn't convert in the red zone. We're now having an inverse of what we had last year on defense, where we couldn't stop teams in the red zone. Now on offense, we can't, after week 4, we have not been able to convert in the red zone. I think it was actually 3 times that they went down there and they got 3 points. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was 3 times down, maybe not in the red zone, but I think there was once they were inside the 30 or something. I can't remember everything that happened. But that's the other thing too, man. When you commit penalties like that, and I think this is what happened to Zeke Correll and why that middle of the line kept getting stuffed. Once you're thinking about what you're doing, as an offensive lineman, that first initial flinch that you do, man, can be detrimental to you being able to block. And if you're thinking about, I gotta hike the ball right this time, you're just got that one split second less than what that defensive lineman has to deal with that is just focused on bull rushing you down. You know what I'm saying? And I think that had as much to do with the problems as anything, as they started getting in their head once they had 2 or 3 of those. And then I'm thinking to myself, just hike the damn ball then. Because stop doing the just hike the ball. If they can't figure out the count in their head, just have them hike it once after one thing, right? That's what I was getting upset about. It's like, okay, it's obvious these guys are nervous. They came out emotionally ready to go. I'll give them that. But they were still mentally nervous. You could tell. And I think it was a problem with the offensive line, it's like they're just a little inconsistent, man. They have they have everything there to, I think, once we hit this second part of the year, boy, and you're right about that bye thing, man. I know you said you're going to talk about that. I remember at the beginning of the season when I saw that we didn't have a bye till after USC.
Dude,
I'm like, why would they?
You just can't. You can't. I don't care how much money you made going to Dublin. It's irresponsible to make your guys play 8 weeks in a row, and the last one is USC and the buys after it. Wow, thanks a lot. Like, I guess if we win it, it'll feel good. If you win it, it'll feel good in that buy. But that is scheduling malpractice. That buy should be this week, man. That buy should be this week. That was a bad move by Notre Dame. It really should be. And if you notice, Ohio State had a buy after us to kind of bookend and then be able to regroup. Like, there is a science to scheduling, and Notre Dame did not. Oh, yeah. Notre Dame didn't put their guys in a good spot here. So listen, man, offensively, how much of this do you think is Duke and Ohio State are 2 of the best defenses in the country? We're going to see things open back up. Versus Notre Dame still has problems and they're not where they need to be. Now they have injuries. This is going to be tough sledding. I don't know where the actual truth lies in the blend between those things. John, 3 of their top 4 receivers were down. Okay, I think Tyree's is the 3rd best of those 3 as far as just, all around. I think Tyree's the biggest play receiver. But you were down Thomas,
you were down, and you can make an argument, he's the biggest play receiver. You're down Greathouse. He's made all the big, red zone plays. Okay, then you're down Colsey, who, in my opinion, is your fourth best of that group, but probably, still more polished than Tyree. So basically, Tyree was your top receiver going into that game. And that, I told you before the season started that Tyree's the X factor. If you've noticed, John, when Tyree's played well and when he's been involved, they've won. When Tyree has not been involved, either a loss or it's come down to, or they're not scoring points, I guess I should say. Those last 2 weeks, he's been kind of, this is the thing about him too, man. I listened to him in interviews. He's got such a great attitude. He's a hard worker. He's super fast. He's very strong. He's got good hands, but he lacks one thing, man. He don't have a lot of moves. That's Tyree's problem. He doesn't have those like moves to get away from guys. As you know, man, it's like when you're up against, as you know, from us watching football, when you're dealing with a defensive back, it's that first move that gets you free and open. I mean, these things are like, when you're talking about, especially against Ohio State, you're talking about equal talent or even slightly above. It's about the little things that you do to get open. And I think he was really, really effective when you had other receivers out there too that they couldn't, double up on. But man, we're watching some of those, all these people putting on Hartman. I'm watching, when they would show the behind the look and they were covered, they were blanketed, man. Those receivers were blanketed. No wonder the tight end was getting open. My question is, why didn't they utilize the running backs more in the passing game last week? Things like that.
You know what? I thought of that. I thought this might be the game for that because you knew you were going to need extra
help. And why not put Tyree in the backfield and use him as a receiver in the backfield? Like, do more things with him. I don't know why they're not being more creative with Tyree. I feel like they're wasting this possibility with him. Now, again, maybe it's because they're down so many guys. I get that. So, remember I said I thought that they would take a jump, that the first part of the year would be frustrating. And then probably the receivers at some point, right around game 5 or 6, would make a jump. Well, now those guys are hurt. So my guess is that jump comes after the bye week. So it's going to be, I think, frustrating for the next 2 weeks. Yeah. Do we have any idea when Jaden Thomas is coming back?
Yeah, I don't know.
Thomas is coming back?
I don't know about that. And so hopefully you get healthier here for these 2 games, especially the one that comes after this one. So I don't know, man. It's good to have the win. I'm going to keep reiterating that as the main point. But I think it's fair to want more out of the offense. And I also think it's fair to go, okay, I acknowledge Duke and Ohio State are really physical, tough defenses, but I need more this week. That's fine. If they just would have scored in those you don't expect them to score every time. Okay. Obviously a good defense will hold you to a field goal now and then. Right. But if they just would have scored even one more time, one more touchdown in both games, we win the Ohio State game. This one's not as close probably as it looks, and then therefore, because the whole thing is Duke caught steam in the second half. When you keep a team in a game like that, that's so well coached, and they are super well coached. Yeah,
you can see it. I mean, those guys competed. They're well conditioned. Man, Elko's he's good. Anybody who gets that guy in the future is going to be happy.
Mike Elko is such a class act. He got up there in the post game after that devastating loss, and the first thing he said is, I want to give credit to all the Duke people that showed up today and were loud, and we filled the place and we had the energy. Like, the first thing the guy said after that,
it sort of resembled what it that's exactly. It's funny because that's exactly what Freeman said the week before.
Yeah.
When he got up, he said that about Ohio State, and then with Elko, and it reminded me of that. My God, this must be what Duke is feeling is exactly what we felt the week before.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that so that was a hangover we had the week before, but now that we won this game, I'm just hoping that loosens this team up a little bit now, because they definitely did come out emotionally and physically ready to go. I give them that.
Listen, man, I think you're going to see that. That's my instincts are telling me there is a lot of slow, deep exhaling going on in that plane from everybody. And you kind of put out the flames that were still smoldering from Ohio State. And I genuinely expect guys to be re-engaged, refocused, their heads screwed back in a little tighter. I'm telling you, people don't want to admit the OSU hangover thing in your brain is a real thing. That is not a regular way to lose a game. That in that moment, it was unique. It carried over. You had to fight through it. I expect everybody to be in a better place this week, which means better execution, less dumb penalties, like all of that. I want to see all that. So we'll get into this. We'll get into Louisville Wednesday, and we'll start looking about where we can hopefully exploit them and get back on a good track offensively. But man, for now, I am just grateful we won the game you had to have. Anything else on the way out? Thanks for the call on a Monday.
Yeah, real quick. I mean, just on the way out, just that I think after this is my scare, man. I mean, I think we're going to win next week. I don't know that I don't know. I don't know what to expect, but I think we're going to win. Really worried about USC, man. But if we can somehow get past USC with all these, injuries and everything, I think after the bye week, we're going to just soar. I really believe that. I think this team's going to really be great. But I'm just worried they're going to have too many, losses to make the playoffs at that point. But we'll see. I hope we're not, because I really think this team will soar after the bye week.
Yeah.
Having said that, John, we'll see what happens, man, this weekend. But
man, there's never a dull moment in Notre Dame land. It doesn't matter what's going on, win or lose. There's never a dull moment. Hey, man, have a good Monday. Have a good one, man.
You too, bud. Bye.
Oh, man, we got clear phone lines today. Must be a Monday thing. I appreciate it. Like, everybody's lines crystal clear. 10-man stand, which is just, it makes me so sad that it's going to be funny forever. Okay, that's the deal with the 10-man stand. It's so miserable that it makes me smile. John, if ND wins 8 or 9, do you see that as a success with the 6th-year QB? Absolutely not. Failure. No. Are you out of your mind? No. No. No, that's a failure. Can't be. Nope. 317, what's going on today?
What's going on, Brother John?
Hey, I'm just glad Notre Dame won, but it isn't stopping the group from having some questions about exactly where Notre Dame's at. That's what's going on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm glad we got the dub. Brother John.
How are you? How are you feeling about this, man? Is Notre Dame's offense starting to worry a little bit, or are those just two really good defenses and you got through it and we move on? What are you thinking here?
Yes, sir. I'd like to say that John is the GOAT before I answer the man's question. John is the GOAT. He's the best doing this. I'll say that, and I mean it. I stand on that. John is the GOAT, period, point blank. Can you run that back to me? I'm sorry.
I appreciate that pump up, by the way. I was going to ask, are you concerned at all about Notre Dame's offensive output, or do you just think we played two of the best defenses in the country and it's tough sledding and now we're going to get back on track? That seems to be the main theme that people are kind of exploring here.
Yes, sir. Okay. Didn't they have college game day at Duke? Yes. Yeah. Wasn't that they Super Bowl Saturday? Yes. Weren't we depleted on offense? Yes. We need to chill out. Like, chill out. Like, first or second college day.
When have you ever known Notre Dame fans to chill out on anything, whether it's good or bad? We can never chill out. I'm guilty of that. I'm the opposite of chilled out. I'm chilled in.
That's why you to go, Brother John. That's why you to go. But I think we need to chill out, man, because, okay, our receivers do not look for the ball. I sit there and I watch the game more than one time. And Sam was scrambling. Tyree goes and blocks somebody. Merriweather, he goes and makes a cup of coffee. I'm just kind of like, ain't nobody looking for him. You see what I'm saying? Like, JT, he looks. I don't know where Stays was the game. But I feel like, like the second caller said or the first caller said, like, I don't believe that Sam lost confidence in these guys. Like, hitting you in the hand, you think I'm going to keep throwing you the ball? You're wide open. Like, why would I keep throwing you the ball if you're not going to catch it? I'm thinking it's like I feel like they're reliable.
Yeah, man. I don't know. It's just a lot of weird circumstances. And we're right in the middle of the shit, too. That's the other thing, man. We are in the meat of the toughest part of Notre Dame's schedule. We all knew it was going to be tough, and we're smack darn in the middle of it. and you have one close loss, one win out of it. What happens against Louisville and USC dictates what this year could be or not. You got to get yourself right, go into Louisville, play good defense, find a way to win, and then ramp up for USC, man. It's Notre Dame fans are always going to have worries. Even in a win, you're going to have a worry, man. That's what we do.
Yes, sir. We smacking Louisville Saturday. We smacking them.
People are
that's
starting
not
to
what
think
you're worried
that.
about.
People are starting to think that. But again, dude, but you're going there at night. They're going to be drinking all day in the parking lot. It's going to be loud. Like, you're getting everything in these games. You're getting everything in these games, man. Everybody's throwing it at you. Game day, build it up. Notre Dame's coming. We're going to take them out. All the ACC teams hate us because we won 30 in a row. Everybody's got the laser beams focused on Notre Dame. You got to overcome it. You just got to overcome it.
Yes, sir. One word, Marcus Freeman. His teams fight, man. We don't get, even if we lose, we fight. Like, you can't say that about Kelly's teams, man. Marcus Freeman, most people talk bad about him. His teams, they fight to the very end, man. They fight. And, I'm not worried about that. Really, everybody should be, happy about USC because Colorado showed you if they can be exposed. Colorado showed you that. So that helped me out a whole lot confidence-wise. And the time we roll around to them, we should be healthy at the wideout spot. So we need to chill out.
Yeah,
for
man.
real. They're making sacks. Yeah, we're getting sacks. The defensive line is starting to come alive. I don't like number 2 back there. I think we should put number 6 back there. I think 24 should get some more run.
Hey, you know what else? You know what else you said? I want to give Howard Cross a specific shout out. That man was playing tough.
Hell yeah.
That dude was all over Saturday night, and he has performed.
Yeah.
He's played better than a lot of Notre Dame fans thought he was capable of this year, and he deserves a lot of credit. Howard Cross has become a dude you can rely on, and he's doing a damn good job.
Yes, sir, indeed. I agree 100%, man. She showed up. What happened to Anya, man? Where you been at, man? You been sleeping, man? Somebody to wake that man up.
Yeah, man, I heard that he was on the come up and was close to getting a lot of playing time and was pushing and for that. And then I haven't heard as much. Yeah, so I don't know about that, but I got to give Howard Cross some kudos there. And the other thing is, man, overall the defense, yeah, there are things to nitpick, but they've done their job the last 2 weeks. The point totals they've allowed are perfectly reasonable for you to be able to win football games in the one we won and the one we lost. So I got to kind of give them credit. Yeah,
you got to give them their ups, no doubt. And for the Ohio State fans, y'all didn't beat us. We beat us. Just take that to the bank. Just go ahead and take that to the bank. Y'all didn't beat us. We beat us.
Yeah, that's a tough one to swallow, man. It's a tough one to process and move on from when you feel like you had it. Yeah, dude, I got to tell you what a lot of people in the chat are saying about you. Just hearing your voice is making us relax a little bit. You got a smooth voice, man. You need to be on the radio. You need to do something with this voice. You need an announcer's gig or something because that voice is smooth sailing, baby.
Let me be your sidekick, Brother John. Let me be your sidekick. I'll ride with you.
I'm telling you what, I think you and I could have some fun together, man. We could mess around. I think this would be a good blend. I like it.
For sure.
Oh, man. Anything else on your mind? Thanks for calling, man. People like your vibe. I like your vibe, man.
No doubt. We're going to keep winning. Y'all calm down. You know what I'm saying? Colorado let you see that USC can be exposed like dog nuts. So we coming at them. So just chill out. We're going to have a one loss, but we're going to make the Final Four.
Man.
Don't worry about that. We in that thing. We got 70 hearts. We all right.
Oh, I like that, man. I like that a lot. Hey, thanks for the call on a Monday. Give me a call again, okay?
For sure. Brother John's the GOAT. Y'all just know that.
I appreciate it, man. Have a good week, man. Happy Monday. Thank you for the call. Dude, I like that dude. And why wouldn't I like him? All he did was pump me up the whole time. What's not to like? Of course, I'm going to like a guy that calls in and goes, oh, John's cool. Yeah, obviously. John, do you have another medallion for the caller? I know. Now Pat's going to want one. We're going to mail that guy one. Everybody going to be walking around Notre Dame with a chain on. But dude, that guy, he did calm me down. I felt my blood pressure go down the more he talked. There was just something about it, man. It made me feel good. Yeah, Snoop is an SC fan. He was at that Colorado game, I believe. Oh, man. That's funny stuff. 707, what's going on? Happy Monday.
Hey, John, happy Monday to you.
Listen,
So I'm sitting here listening to everybody, and this last caller, I agree. He'd be great as a sidekick. He's very good.
Oh, man.
And I totally agree. Yeah, I agree with him on everybody should chill, because this is, what you signed up for when you had looked at this schedule coming. Like, people are now talking about, oh, yeah, we're going to kill Louisville. We should kill Louisville. And then the moment that it's going to be close or we lose, they're going to be like off their rocker, crazy.
Yeah.
Listen,
man, this stretch was highlighted for a reason. Everybody knew it was going to be a really physical, tough, emotional grind. Okay. We were sitting here all summer. You were a regular caller and viewer on all the summer shows when it's all laid back and we're looking at big picture. We highlighted this 4-game stretch as the one that was going to dictate the year and what's possible. You're halfway through it, and it has been even more physical and emotional than we planned both weeks. And I think that's why people are getting wound a little tight here. But, man, Notre Dame needed that game in the biggest way, and they got it. And that is still my biggest takeaway. You absolutely had to have it to save everything, practically and perceptually, and you got it. Notre Dame fans always want more. You know how we are. You always want more.
Yeah, but you also have to be a realist. I mean, everyone's singing the praises of Elko. Well, Golden actually allowed less touchdowns. So, and when they talked to Hartman after the game, his first 3 comments was to praise the defense and praise Al Golden. He knows that they did a great job to keep him in the position to have a chance to pull it out, and he did. So I think everyone's just expectations, and you're right. I mean, Notre Dame, especially the younger, like you and younger, you need it instantly because it's been never in your lifetime. But you have to be realistic about looking at what they've been doing. I mean, you're asking for so much from Hartman, and here's a guy that's coming into the team brand new, learning the offense, and it's not like it's Riley with Caleb Williams had a year at Oklahoma and then now 2 years together at USC. Like, this is a brand new quarterback with a new system. I know he's old, but you still have to learn it, and you still have to try and get timing down, and you have a young crew with your receivers. I mean, the expectations are huge, and it's Notre Dame's 5-1, and their defense has been playing well. I don't see how you're calling for Golden's head. Like, you can point out 3rd and 19 or whatever. All I know is that they are 5-1, and Golden's allowing about 12 points a game.
Yeah.
So
And you know what else, man? All summer, we also asked, what are you going to get out of this defense? What is it? Are we going to be able to hold up front? What's it going to look like? Are they going to hold up in the biggest games against physical offensive lines? That kind of thing. So far, so good. I mean, the defense hasn't been perfect. There's obviously complaints, but I mean, they've done their part. They've done their part. I think people, man, you have Hartman in here, and people wanted everything else to be caught up to his level just because he arrived. And I think maybe you're learning that that's not realistic. Maybe that's what's going on. You wanted everything else in that offense to rise to the level Hartman is when he showed up, and you're not there in certain areas. The wide receiver room's still a problem. You don't have the depth. You don't have the talent to rely upon that's proven. And now you have injuries. Like, that is going to be a challenge all year still. We need until Cam Williams and the other boys get here. So, like, I don't know.
And then now you got Louisville coming up, and Chip Long is the offensive coordinator, and he's the last offensive coordinator Notre Dame had that was very good. So they're 5-0, don't expect that this is going to be like an easy game for Notre Dame. This is in Louisville.
Yeah.
There's a lot of still difficult obstacles that Golden has to keep on coming up against. And, we're not a strong defensive line. I'm not happy with Mills at all. He's a huge disappointment this year, and yet they have to keep playing him because Anye hasn't really done much. And they're not playing the freshmen. We're not getting to see some of these younger guys like, our boy, what's his name? And then, Devin Houston. And, we're not seeing any other rotation of freshmen yet. So, what we've been able to do with what we have, and our linebackers to me suck. I mean, Leofau shows up when he wants to, and then when he shows up, he's fantastic. And then when he doesn't, they lose, like Ohio State. He was nowhere there. But, I think you have to just take a chill pill, and recognize that Notre Dame's 5-1. They came back hard against a very good team with Mike Elko, and everyone's, still claiming his praises of how great he is. And meanwhile, Notre Dame's defensive coordinator beat him. So, swallow that pill with your expectations.
Yeah.
About Golden and wanting him gone.
Yeah. And man, it's just, I think the way both of these last two games ended, I think it has people out of their normal way of thinking a little bit, because it's been so heavily emotional at the end of both of these games that I just think people are a little more strung out than they normally would be because of how both of them ended, and you ended up +1, down 1. But
it's a good thing that we won a close game like that. Like for a change, Notre Dame came out on the plus side of that, and including all those penalties.
But hey, man,
and it was mostly the offense that was causing those penalties.
We were all mad. We were all mad. Notre Dame didn't close. Ohio State, they didn't close. Even though they came from behind, they didn't let that happen again 2 weeks in a row. And it saved the season and the early part of the Freeman tenure to keep the boat afloat. And
And you know what's going to be?
Yeah, go ahead.
You know what's going to be tough, John, is now that Leonard's hurt,
stopping
we're
Caleb
not going to really see just the strength of schedule now for Duke going forward is going to be hurt. Like Notre Dame's win against them was tremendous, but now if they wind up losing, their next 3 games or 4 out of the next 5 because of their quarterback.
I thought of that too.
That's not going. That's not going to reflect well on Notre Dame's strength of schedule.
Yeah, and
meanwhile,
again, there's nothing you can do. Yeah, there's nothing you could do about that. But that was in my mind too. Is I wanted to get a clear gauge of where Duke was with some more games, and you may not get that if Leonard's out. Yeah, I'm with you. People are commenting that it's bizarre. The last 2 callers have called this show with the message for everybody to chill out. Like that's 2 in a row, man. You and the last guy saying to chill out. We don't do a lot of chilling out here, but that's been the message. And there's a lot of nuance in these football games week to week, and the emotional toll needs to be recognized. Nobody wants to recognize it to the extent I think it comes into play when you have 2 dynamics that we've just had back to back. I want a deep exhale. Everybody's brain gets screwed back in the right way of a good week of work, clean things up, go to Louisville, and then get ready for your next big build-up, gotta have it, national big thing. That's the plan. That's the track I'm on.
Well, I'll tell you another thing. I'm disappointed in Estime. He scored 2 touchdowns Saturday, and I'm disappointed in his game. He's trying to get too fancy with trying to pick holes, and he's not showing his quickness that he had earlier in the season. He's getting stuffed up there. So, he's not very impressive to me lately. So I'm glad when they go with these other guys. That 4th down to Price, I guess, was a fake punt, was tremendous, and because Estime wasn't doing anything in that whole first half. And, he had that one run, and of course it was he found the opening on the side of Blake Fisher and Spindler, which everyone seems to, jump on their cases. But meanwhile, that's where he found the hole because they were blocking down and he saw the hole, which I credit him. You know, I like Estime. I'm loving it. You know, he's been a leader, but these last couple games, he's proved, you know, when they stuff the box on him, you have to be able to have, and Hartman's got a quick out. So you have to get the ball out to the flat when that happens. You know, you got to look for Tyree out there and line up everybody on the other side and then throw it out to him and make him beat his corner. And he'll do it 5 out of 6 times, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not thrilled with Gerard Parker. I'll tell you, I finally learned his name because I'm disappointed. I mean, I should have went to church Sunday because I was cursing up a storm on Notre Dame.
Yeah.
It was insane. I was so hurt.
Man, it started to feel the feeling it can't be is that you start feeling like you're back into Reese Kelly predictable offense, boring land. And like that's the feeling nobody wants anymore with Hartman and a new OC.
And the tight end.
Yeah, and it started to feel a little like old Notre Dame in one of these games where you know what you're going to get. And if the tight end does not catch 15 balls, you're screwed. Like that's what people I think are getting a little irpy about is they don't want it to start feeling like that. And so I don't know, but geez, at least,
you know, they could have had Ludwig. We haven't had anybody since Chip Long, and now we're going to be facing him. We could have had Ludwig. You know, Notre Dame admin, they need to help out Marcus Freeman. You know, like we need to get quality in there. Now, Guduli obviously is a great thing to have on the sideline to talk, you know, to the team, you know, to the quarterback and the entire offense. But I think his main focus is the quarterback, and I think it's been settling having him there to talk to Hartman because Hartman's, you know, he's not God, you know.
Yeah.
He came into a new team, and it's not the same thing as what Caleb Williams has been able to come over from Oklahoma with Riley. He's had 3 years with him now, and so he knows his offense. But you know, it's still a game by game against very tough opponents, and USC's played nobody. So you know, let's take it for what it is. We're 5-1, and we have to travel again, and we're going against another great offensive coordinator. Everyone's going to be singing the praises once they find out it's Chip Long running the show. I mean, you know, you have to, like that caller before me said, chill. You have to chill and recognize that. Yeah, it's a difficult game to play.
I struggle with the chill, man. I'm not built to chill. I am not built to chill.
I know you're not.
But I'm trying to frame it today, making sure that wherever we wander to, I circle back to the main point that Notre Dame saved the damn season, and that's a good thing. I'm at least throwing my worries in there, but wrapping them into the notion that everybody needs to understand what a big damn win this was for Freeman and practically this year. Anything else, my friend?
Well, I'll tell you what.
Calling on a Monday.
Yeah, I'll end on this. I think the star of the game Saturday was actually Ramon Henderson when he recovered that crazy attempt at getting the ball on the punt by Chris Tyree. What was he thinking? I just couldn't believe when I saw that.
Listen, sir, you're over here telling me to chill, and then you bring up a special teams problem. Don't get me started on the regression on special teams, because it's on every unit. Okay? Every unit. The coverages aren't as good. They're not blocking kicks. We don't get returns. There's no blocking. And the field goal kicker drives the ball 400 yards sideways. Okay? All right? So you don't get to tell me to chill and then bring up special teams mistakes.
Oh, believe me, that was killing me.
Oh, my God.
When he went, like, who in college football would have tried that, you know, like that. What was he thinking?
I don't know. You know, I got problems with the special teams regression. But hey, man, it's good to touch base with you on a Monday, and we're in the middle of it right now. This is Notre Dame's toughest stretch of the year. We knew it would be. I don't think we knew the extent, but it's a tough stretch, and we got another tough one. Gear up. We're having another late night show Saturday night, folks. So everybody stick around. Thanks for the call on a Monday.
All right, John.
Have a
God
good
bless.
one.
Go Irish.
God bless us all. We need it. We need it. Oh, man. Andrew, it was certainly a good thing we won, but John's original question is right. Are we getting better? I think our offense is regressing. Parker needs to figure something out with our exhausted offense. That is how I feel. Andrew, that's exactly kind of how I feel. And all these things could be true at the same time. Glad we win. Very proud of our guys for fighting back, and Hartman with the last drive and all that. But the offense feels like it's getting more vanilla and more kind of boring as we go along and more predictable as we go along. That's just how it feels to me. Now, where it gets tricky is you go, well, yeah, you played a bunch of bad defenses early in the year. Everything you do is going to look better. And now you're playing good ones and it doesn't look as good. That's what's all in the blend right now that we're trying to figure out. But to me, the offense feels like they're getting more conservative and boxed in and predictable. And then you add in the injuries and you're playing good defenses. And then that's how you end up in a tough dynamic. So you get out of that this week. Get out of that this week. You need to open up some stuff here. Get 17 points in the first quarter this week or do something. Because people are just getting a little nervous about what they're seeing on offense. Even though we know we're playing good defenses, you want to see more. Even though I know we're playing good defenses, I want to see more out of the offense. Does that make me an unrealistic fan? To say the amount of points we scored against Ohio State is not good enough and it isn't real life, even though I'm giving their defense credit. And I'm still saying it isn't good enough, and I need more. It's all true. Ohio State, great defense. NFL guys, talent everywhere, great. And Notre Dame still should have scored more. Both could be true. It isn't one or the other. Yeah, 3 out of 15 on third down is not something to chill out over. Absolutely right. It's people have trouble juggling multiple things at once. That's what I think you have going on here. People want to say it's this and point to it. It's just that. It's all this or it's all that. People aren't good at dividing out the situational blame. Some of it on us, maybe some on Parker, maybe the wide receiver room being banged up and not good enough even when they're healthy. Maybe it's a little too conservative of a plan if you have Hartman at quarterback, which I think has been a problem. And the good defenses and the big moment and the bright lights. It's all that stuff. It's all that stuff. 469, you're on the line. What's going on?
Hello?
Hey, what's going on? Good morning.
Not much. How are you doing, John?
I'm doing good. I'm glad Notre Dame got the tough win they needed to get. They absolutely had to have, but that isn't going to stop Notre Dame fans from having some anxiety about where the team's at and how we're trending going into the next two big games. What do you think?
Well, going into the game, my perspective was because of who the opponent is and all the, the things surrounding the game, it was a matter of just get a win. Because it's, you're playing a ranked opponent on the road at night with, game days there. They're treating it like their Super Bowl.
Yep.
It's the biggest regular season game that Duke has ever played. So
right.
To them,
and then on our side, that's their side. And then added to that dynamic, right, you got to add in what we just had to get through and the hangover of that. It was a tough dynamic. It would be so easy to lay down and just take a loss there, and they didn't, and you got to credit them.
Right. Yeah, they fought through adversity. I mean, it's a little bit disappointing that it had to come down to 4th and 16 and converting that 4th and 16. That wasn't exactly what you want to see. But, hey,
great teams have those moments, you know, and they prove themselves to be great teams by being able to find a way to win. So, you know, you chalk it up to, hey, it's football. That happens. One thing I'll say, though, as far as the offense and, you know, I guess kind of bigger picture, I hate to say it, but I think we're kind of seeing what some people have talked about going into the season, that you can't just automatically assume that Sam Hartman is going to be this world-beating quarterback. And unfortunately, I think we're starting to see another situation where we have a quarterback with limitations. And what I mean by that is, if you really look at the games when he's playing, he's a one-read quarterback. So rather than being able to go through multiple progressions, he's got a primary target, and if he doesn't see that guy open, he goes to a secondary target. If there's nothing there, then it's like he has to either try to run for it, or you may have like a dump off kind of outlet available. But other than that, I think that's what we're starting to see against the lesser opponents. That wasn't something that the teams were able to exploit because they just didn't have the personnel. But now you got better opponents. They can exploit that because they have, especially with Duke, they have some pretty good defensive backs. They were able to exploit that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, I wouldn't say Hartman's a one read type guy. I think it's more like, it feels more to me like there's just not wide receivers that you can trust to do what you needed to do to make enough progressions to figure out some of this stuff. I feel like you could kind of see him trying to do progressions, but it's like, I think that's where the wide receiver limitations have held back what we wanted Hartman to be. That's kind of what I'm feeling.
I'm sorry. I'm not buying that you have all these foreign, borderline 5-star guys that were prolific players in high school, and all of a sudden they forgot how to play football.
But who is that?
Who
is that? Wait.
Every single one of the receivers forgot how to play football.
Oh, wait a second.
I'm not buying that.
One of the biggest problems with our wide receivers is that they're not the top-ranked guys in high school and all that, and they're not those dudes with freak athleticism and breakaway speed and all that. Like, that's my problem.
Jaden Greathouse is that kind of guy. Tobias Merriweather is that kind of guy. Rico Flores is that kind of guy. Chris Tyree was a borderline 4-star guy coming out of high school. You've got elite athletes. Just because they put on the Notre Dame uniform, they didn't suddenly become chumps,
So then where does the issue lie?
The one constant there is the quarterback. The one constant there is the quarterback. There's a reason he is a 6-year guy who wasn't drafted and going into the NFL. And I think we're seeing that. I really believe that we're seeing the reason why he didn't go to the NFL. He wanted to try to prove himself in a pro-style offense, but I think we're seeing the NFL scouts were right. You're not an NFL quarterback.
But I feel like I think of my list of worries about where Notre Dame's at right now, he's way down the list. He is so far down my list of worries. It's a clear upgrade over anything Notre Dame's had. If you want to say it's not Caleb Williams, I agree with you. But you got to admit that he's a clear upgrade, head and shoulders over anything in the room last year, right?
Yeah, better than Drew Pine. Buckner, I'm going to say Buckner, unfortunately with him, there's so much, it's like there's an asterisk next to Buckner, in my opinion, because of all the his lack of a senior season in high school, being injured before he really got a chance to really get many starts at Notre Dame. It just, for Buckner, the problem was he just never got developed. And that wasn't really his fault. It was more on the coaching staff than anything. But I put Hartman on the same line as Ian Book. I think he's a gutty, great player in college. I don't think he's going to do much in the NFL. And I think there are limitations with Hartman, not in the same way as Book, but I think they're in a similar vein. I think there are limitations with Hartman, that you don't have a guy that can throw it all over the field. I mean, I've seen if that weren't the case, he wouldn't have been 50% for passing. If he really had an NFL arm, he wouldn't have been throwing 50%. His receivers aren't that bad.
Man,
You know?
I got to give you credit, man. I did not expect to take a call that would have a theme where like he's a part of the problem and not the solution. Like, I just kind of feel like he's somewhat limited by everything else going on around him. And that if he had Ohio State's wide receivers, he would look a lot better. Like, don't you think if he had Egbuka and Marvin Harrison, he would look way better? Like I just feel like he's a little bit a victim of Notre Dame's circumstance.
No, this is the reason I'll say that. Kyle McCord is not a bad quarterback, but you look at the defense. When they were playing a solid defense, their receivers were neutralized. So I don't think you put Sam Hartman on Ohio State's team. I don't think he looks any better than Kyle McCord, and Kyle McCord didn't look great. You know, you've got to have the combination of experience and talent and kind of pull all those things together. It's a really, really rare player that can do what Caleb Williams has done. They can do what Trevor Lawrence did. That's a really, really rare player. But as far as like a standard college quarterback, it's a combination of talent and experience. And that's what ends up making them great.
Yeah, man, it's I don't know, man. If you can't feel good about having Sam Hartman now, I just feel like I don't know, man.
I'll tell you what I do feel good about. I feel good about Marcus Freeman's recruiting, and I feel good about the fact that it's a long-term process. He's in his second year, and I don't think any Notre Dame fan is in the right mind if they're upset about whatever happens this season. He's in his second year, you know? And as long as you continue to see progress, whatever shape it comes, if it's a 9-3 season, if, you know, whatever happens, it doesn't, you know, to me, it doesn't change what it is that Marcus Freeman is doing.
So then, what's your quarterback solution then? What's your quarterback solution then? Like,
develop a guy. Don't go a 1-year rental. They can't do that again. Develop a guy. Pick a guy. It doesn't matter. Whoever you decide is the guy that has the most upside. Pick him. Hitch your wagon to him and run with it. It doesn't matter how it looks. You got to pick a guy to be a multi-year starter and develop him.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately,
anything else other than that is going to be a failure, because you're going to be going 1 year to the next, hoping you can tap into, okay, we got a 1-year guy again. Until you just pick a guy to be a multi-year starter, you're always going to be in that hamster wheel of, you know, here's another transfer.
Yeah. Man, this is, you covered a lot of ground, my friend. You covered a lot of ground. Hey, anything else on the way out? Thank you for a call on a Monday. Appreciate you, man. It's been a while since you called.
Yeah, I've kind of been traveling, and I'm back in the U.S. after traveling. So I just really, I appreciate your show. Not many shows like yours that have the reach that you do allow people to just call in and, you know, give the fans a voice. So I very much appreciate it.
Hey, thank you for that, man. Thank you very much. Feel free to give me a call back anytime. Thank you, my man.
All right. You take care, John. Okay. God bless.
Yep. Have a good one. Oh, the Notre Dame people don't like that call. I just can't, man. Of all the worries I got this year, dude, I can't put it on Hartman. If you had Sam Hartman with Ohio State's wide receiver skill position guys, it would all look a lot different. Like, he is not Caleb Williams, but he is not the problem here. That's how I see it. He ain't Caleb Williams, but he is not the problem of like, I'm never entering a game this year, and before it starts, I'm going, I wonder if our quarterback's going to be able to keep us in the game. Like, that was a worry you had every game before in the Kelly era and whatever. You're like, do we have a quarterback that can even make plays to keep us in the game to have a chance to win it? And I just, with all the other areas, this team isn't where I need it to be yet, bro. Sam is, I just can't do that. I only have a room for so many worries. He ain't it. He ain't it. What would Sam Hartman look like with Ohio State skill, guys? I'm just asking. I'd love to find out somehow. $20 holler from the wicked Bronco. This dude doesn't know ball. Hartman on par with Ian Book. Dude, it's not his fault as OC isn't calling any deep shots. Not his fault the wide receivers can't catch. If people still think Hartman is a gimmick QB, you're wrong. Listen. He's not Caleb Williams. There are levels to this. He ain't Caleb Williams. His presence gives Notre Dame a legitimate opportunity to win every football game they play. That's a big difference. That's a big difference in those things. Wicked Bronco, you've been donating. Let's bring you up. 815, make it come alive. Good morning.
Good morning, John. How are you, man?
I'm okay. I'm glad Notre Dame won, and we are just trying to kind of recollect ourselves here for the second 2-game stretch of this top 4-game stretch.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know if I told you, but I was at the Ohio State game live. And I tell you what, I feel like we Buckeyed Duke. You know, now Duke fans know how we felt last week. So it's kind of nice to have that feeling, but on the reverse side of it, although Notre Dame should realistically be 6-0 right now, but we can play the if, should, could, all day long.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about the caller that called in because I have some opinions. I agree with you. Hartman is not Caleb Williams. There's Caleb Williams, and then there's every other quarterback in college football right now. What I would compare Sam Hartman to is kind of that Bo Nix type. I think Sam Hartman and Bo Nix are very comparable. They both are in their 6th year of college football. They both have been in college football a long time. They both have had their struggles. They both have had their ups and downs. But both of them are legit Heisman candidates. Both of them are top 5 quarterbacks in college football right now. Both of them have a chance to win a national title. Both of them are good enough to take a team and win them a national championship. Do I think that Hartman is like Caleb Williams, where he's a generational talent? He's going to be a guaranteed first-round pick? No. But to sit here and say, well, Sam Hartman is Ian Book, there's Ian Book, and then there's 3 levels above Ian Book, and that's where Sam Hartman is.
But let me ask this. Let me ask you this. This is just, I'm just being honest. Let me ask you this. How fair is it to judge how good you think a quarterback is when you know your wide receiver room is not good enough? I struggle with that because a big part of how you're looking at the quarterback has to do with the guys he's delivering the ball to. And we all knew Notre Dame was not starting the year out in a plus area there. And then now with the injuries, it's even harder to get things done. That's really hard for me, man. That wide receiver room, even when healthy, is nowhere near what it needs to be still. And it's 100% better than it was last year, and it's still nowhere close to what it needs to be. And I struggle with that. When I want to judge a quarterback and I look at what he's working with, it isn't high level wide receiver. It is not a high level wide receiver situation. Drop Sam Hartman into Ohio State's offense the rest of the year, and then let me see what that would look like. Like, I would just love to see that as an experiment. Yep. We don't have those dudes healthy, and now banged up, we double don't have those dudes.
Yeah, but the thing is, and I don't think our wide receiver room is as bad as, Notre Dame fans make it out to be. I think it's not as good as we make it out to be during spring or fall camp, but it's not as bad as people think it is either. I think Rico Flores is really freaking good. I think Tobias is good. He just, again, has not tapped into that potential. I think Jaden Greathouse is one of those, he breaks the game wide open for you when he's on the field. Jaden Thomas and Deion Colsey, I think that they're solid receivers, but they're not like the guy. But I think that Marcus Freeman, these true freshmen that we have, I think they're great, and I think they're a step up in wide receiver talent. But I think to expect them to throw them into the fire as true freshmen on the road against a ranked team in Duke that's undefeated, and this is basically their Super Bowl, like the other caller said, and to expect them to not have freshman jitters, to not make mistakes as true freshmen, is just.
But see what?
How many true freshman receivers can you expect to?
But see,
not drop a ball on the road?
What that is an indictment on everything that came before that Notre Dame's trying to dig out of. You are multiple years behind where you need to be at wide receiver development, recruiting, the game flow, who's playing, like over the years, who does what. Notre Dame's out of whack there, and they're trying to get caught up. Next year's going to help that. But I'm just saying, like, that wide receiver room leaves a lot to be desired as far as reliability and getting open, and you know what you're going to get. And that makes it hard for me to judge the quarterback. So I don't know where the reality falls, but of all the reasons I could be frustrated, I'm not blaming Hartman. I don't have it in me. There are too many other practical things. There's just two other obvious things holding them back before I get to what his deficiencies are. That's just how I see it, man.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at. And I mean, I don't know how you feel, but I personally think Jaden Greathouse is the best receiver in that room.
Yep.
And I really wish that Freeman would stop pulling him and, kind of getting other guys in, because I think he's a guy that you put on the field every single snap you possibly can, because I especially with Tobias' struggles, I'd rather see Jaden Greathouse out there, because he's been, that Ohio State game, the times he's in, he makes the play. He makes a great play. Every time he's in and he gets a shot, in the limited snaps I've seen him, he always makes the play, always makes the catch. He's somehow somewhere near the ball when he's in there.
Yeah.
And he's just too good not to play. Now, and I think it baffles me, as Sam Hartman comes from Wake Forest. Wake Forest does not get the type of recruits in terms of stars that we get. But
I would take their wide receivers last year over ours right now, though. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
A.T. Perry, was a first, second round pick. That guy, Sam Hartman and him had a great relationship. Dude was a 3-star, ranked outside the top 1,000. And you got a guy now, Jamal Banks, for over there at Wake Forest, who's balling without Sam Hartman. You can't tell me that Wake is getting better receivers than Notre Dame. So there's something missing. I think part of it is that, we got Dayton Thomas and we've got Deion Colsey. They're the kind of last Brian Kelly-esque recruits on the wide receiver side of things.
Yeah.
Chris Tyree as well. I think once we get out of that and we get to Greathouse, Flores, Braylon James,
Cam Williams.
More.
Yeah.
Cam Williams. Yeah. I think Cam Williams is going to start as a freshman.
I think he's going to have to start as a freshman. I think he's going to literally. You need a guy with what he brings on this team right now, and he's going to. This needs to get reset. You need to have the normal path of development for these guys. But Notre Dame is off in that whole developmental wheel at wide receiver because of how bad they developed and recruited or didn't develop and recruit before. And they need to get caught up there, and they're trying to. But I can't put that on Hartman. If you had great skill guys, Hartman would look way better, and You would have beat Ohio State probably. I don't know, man.
Yeah. And one more thing I want to talk about before I get off here, and I'm sure you've seen it all over social media now too. The narrative is everyone picked Duke to win that game. Let's be real. Everyone on game day picked Duke to win that game.
Yep.
Besides Corso. All the national media is like, Notre Dame's going to come in here. They're going to be licking their wounds. They're going to lose to a Duke team that's red hot. Well, guess what happened? Notre Dame wins the game, right? So what do those national media people turn around and say? Well, Notre Dame's still got a lot of issues. They're not very good. People on Twitter, Notre Dame's garbage. They almost lost to a basketball school. Now, these are the same people that picked Duke to beat Notre Dame.
Man,
and it's so tiring.
It's
so tiring as Notre Dame fans because people move the goalpost all the time.
Yeah, that's just how it goes. And that's been an issue our whole lives. That everybody would pick against Notre Dame. And then when they beat the team, then it's like, well, that team won. We learned that they're not as good as we thought anyway. Like, there's always a way to put Notre Dame on the downside. There's always a way to put Notre Dame on the downside, and you just got to win enough that it doesn't matter, I guess. But yeah, you're right. And I don't know. Anything else on the way out? Thanks for touching base, bro.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be discouraged if I were Notre Dame fans. There were some issues in that game, but I think Notre Dame's got a tough ass schedule, man. We're going to be playing 4 straight undefeated teams.
Yep.
2 of them on the road.
Yep.
4 straight primetime games.
Oh, you're on it, buddy. Hey, did you get a sneak peek of my USA Today Irish Wire article? Because these are the bullet points I went in for that article. I literally broke down all of these dynamics, the scheduling and what you're facing emotionally and practically. I'm with you, man.
Yep.
This is a brutal stretch.
I mean, it's to the point. Dude, you win with this schedule and how hard it is. I don't care if you win by a point or 28 points. I prefer 28, obviously.
You just got to keep winning.
But you got to win and survive in advance. And one more thing, and I'll let you go. Refs, I don't ever blame refs for losses. But the last 2 weeks, what the hell are we doing with refereeing?
They're bad.
But
they're bad at their jobs.
Yeah, they're terrible.
They're bad at their jobs. They're just like the Angel Hernandez of baseball and football. Like they are just really, really bad at their jobs and no accountability.
Dude, have you ever, as a Notre Dame fan, I find myself as a Notre Dame fan sitting here in big games like that, and I'm like, can we just get like one bad call? Man, that goes in our favor.
And you know what else,
one.
dude? You know what else? Every time I feel like there's a huge review, it comes back against Notre Dame every single time they do. Oh, we're taking a double look. And then whatever the other way that benefits Notre Dame is what happens, man. It's rough. Hey, buddy.
Yeah, it's like, dude, in my lifetime, I can't remember one time we've ever got a bad call that benefited us.
It's just always, man. All right, man. Hey, thanks for the call. Thanks for the donations, bro. Have a good one, man.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Take care,
man,
buddy.
And thanks for letting me on.
Oh,
Go
no
Irish
problem.
And,
oh, sorry, I cut him off there. My bad. 618. What's going on? Good morning, buddy.
Man, nothing much, man. Man, I've been trying to call for a week, man. I just been getting off at 10, man. But
hey, listen, buddy. Hey, it's a good problem to have because the phone lines are getting busier, man. And so it's a good problem to have, but it's harder for me to sort through them. Thanks for jumping on, man. What's on your mind today? Good morning.
Yeah, man. I want to start off by talking about the Ohio State game, man. We had them on the ropes, man. I knew we just was going to beat them, and then boom, we got 10 men on the field, and I didn't even know it was 10 men on the field until the commentators announced that, it was only 10 men on the field. I'm like, oh man, come on, Freeman, not at this time, man. You can't do that. But we backed it up with a real good win on the road, man. That Duke team is really tough, and they're gonna be a problem in the ACC, man.
Yeah, the only issue with that is if their quarterback's got a busted ankle, what's going to happen? Because that defense is going to be a pain in the ass.
Ankle sprain. Yeah, I'm hearing a high ankle sprain, and they play defense, man. That team was really hit, man.
Yeah. Yep.
I'll be honest with you. I think they might have the best defense that Notre Dame might see all season.
Man, they're going to give some ACC teams a tough time. The way the ACC teams, some of them play offense, Duke's going to have a handful of shootouts, I think. I don't know, man. It's a Mike Elko D. It's a Mike Elko D, and I respect it.
And then I want to switch the subject to Tobias Mayweather.
Make it make sense,
sorry.
man. Make it make sense. Give it to me. Make it make sense on a Monday.
I'm
to
done
me.
with him. I am done. I am done with him. I'm sorry. I'm done with him, man. You know, it's time to move on, man. You know, you got Rico Flores that play the same receiver.
Here's the problem, though, man. The problem is move on to who? Now we're all injured again. So I don't even think you can make a move, even if you wanted to, because now we got injured guys and you got to put people out there.
You got to go with the two freshmen. I mean, the only reason I can't say that you can't put Grayhouse out there all the time because Grayhouse is more of a slot receiver, and you got Chris Henry, who you move from running back to slot receiver. So it's a good problem to have a slot receiver, man. I mean, he's gonna be a problem. And I'm giving it next year. I don't see Notre Dame losing another game. Man, they're going to put up about 60 against USC, man. USC's defense is horrible.
Baby, man, that would be that'd be quite the output.
That might be the worst defense that Notre Dame might see all season.
Ooh. And I'm telling you what, when you get to that one, you better score every chance you get because any play could be 7 on you the other way. Yeah.
Hey, and John, I can't even say that, man. In the big games at Ohio State, they outrushed Ohio State, even though Ohio State had to. You take the 60-yard touchdown play away, and that kid only rushed for like 30 or 40 yards, besides the 60 or 70-yard touchdown that he had. Notre Dame has a really good defense, man. I thought they would be good on defense. They would be decent, but, man, I didn't think they would be this good.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, there's just a lot of moving parts right now, and there's just like a lot of questions, and we as a group here, we seem to be having trouble figuring out what the actual bare bones realities of all these situations are, and what parts are external or circumstantial or whatever. It's all in the mix. I think we're going to see a more put together team going to Louisville this week. I genuinely mean that. The Ohio State emotion is calm down. You got the Duke win. That's what I want. I want to see a better operation against Louisville now.
I want to call out Jared Parker for a couple of things.
Okay, go ahead.
He's doing a wonderful job with the offense in the first 4 games against nobody. You know, you're not passing the ball down the field for some reason. What is going on with you passing the ball down? This is the same thing that we've seen out of Tommy Rees the last few years, where we was happy that Tommy Rees ran out to Alabama, and now he's making Alabama. He will be probably fired after this year because, you know, Saban ain't going to play. Saban is not going to keep that around. And this is the same thing that we got on Tommy Rees about, and you're doing the same exact thing that Tommy Rees. We got quarterback development. We got a quarterback coach. We need to push the ball down the field. That's one of the reasons why I felt like I thought that we would go into that Ohio State game and beat them by 10 because I thought we would push the ball down the field. We're not pushing the ball down the field. And
yeah,
I don't know if it's just a lack of, you don't have, man, we got a receiver, and I know the kid from Round Rock, man. He's good, man. Look, Tobias, I'm done. Put Braylon, what's the kid's name?
Braylon James.
Braylon James in the game and let him be your deep threat because of you. Them three freshmen together is probably the best. Two of them at least the best 2 receivers on Notre Dame. You got to play them too, and then you come in with Braylon James. And show like, hey, we can push this ball down the field with Sam Hartman. Man, dude, man, come on, man, Jared Parker. We got to push the ball down the field, and we got to show that if we don't In order for us to beat USC, we're gonna have to push the ball down the field.
Yeah, well, you're gonna have to. I just feel like you need to take a few more chances. I felt that against Ohio State. However, I don't think they feel like they have what they need on the back end to trust them to take enough of those shots. And I feel like that's some of the frustration right now that probably Hartman's feeling, Freeman's feeling, Parker's feeling. And so, but I hope we recenter ourselves, come back to earth a little bit after the last 2 weeks of crazy, and play better offensive ball and close out some drives against Louisville, man. Anything else?
James was a 20-point 200-meter runner, a 10-point something 100-meter sprinter. You can't push the ball down the field with him. You can't push the ball down the field with nobody.
Yeah. That in the biggest games, you got to try and get some bigger chunks. And that was one complaint I had about Ohio State. I thought Notre Dame needed to at least attempt to get some bigger chunks against that defense. And I didn't see enough of that.
At least in the third quarter.
I didn't see enough of that aggression.
At least in the third quarter of the 2022 game against Ohio State, at least Tommy Rees tried to push it down the field. He didn't even have the quarterback to push it down the field, and he tried to push it down the field to put the game away. And just so happened that Buckner wasn't that guy. He wasn't accurate. So, every quarter, every game this year, every game this year, including Ohio State game, except for the USC game, you're walking into the game with the best quarterback. And it's even a possibility, even with the USC game, that you might walk into that game with the better quarterback. So, I said, I'm not going to just say that Caleb Williams is that much head and shoulders above Hartman. I'm just saying that every game except for that, we're going to win out. We're going to win out.
Man,
the one game that I thought we were going to lose, I think we're going to win. Because USC Saturday, I don't know what the hell that was, man. I know that Shador is a really good quarterback, man, and he could probably be a top 3 quarterback in the draft, but I just don't think if Colorado can score 41 and Arizona State can put up points against, I just see Notre Dame putting up 50 or 60 points against the USC.
Well, you might have to. You might have to, man. Hey, thanks for the call on a Monday. You got a lot out there. I can tell you've been bottling it up for a few days, man. Thank you on a Monday.
All right, my man.
Have a good one, buddy. Man, he was building them up. You just let him. He had those things holstered, and he let them rip. 814, what's going on? Good morning.
Hey, John, Mikey Poles. It's been a while.
What's
since
up?
I called in last.
Hey, what's up, man? We're shooting all over the board, Mikey, today. We got opinions all different ways from Sunday sideways. What's the realities in a real situation here, Mikey?
Oh, the reality is because of Freeman, Hartman, and Estime, and the way this team is as people, it makes it getting over these hardships easier. In previous years under Kelly, I'd stay mad the whole season. I'd never forgive Kelly, but man, I just want Freeman and Hartman and all these guys to succeed so badly that I'm willing to give them a little more extra leeway, but then just get fired up for the next game to see them succeed.
Yeah.
And
you know what, man? I have heard some national people say they were surprised how overall Notre Dame people were not generally calling for Freeman's head after the coaching gaffes against Ohio State. And when I think about that, I think that's a compliment to the loyalty the fans have for Marcus, that he's kind of got us bought in and everybody wants him to succeed and there's good feelings about him. You don't think he's a jerk like the last guy. That all matters. And I think I was hurt for Marcus. I was mad, but I was also hurt for him because I know what that moment was for him and I want him to succeed.
Yep.
It hurt, man. I was mad and hurt. With Kelly, I was just mad. You know what I mean? It's a different vibe. You feel like you have a relationship with Freeman almost as a fan. It's a different relationship with the fan base and Marcus than we've had since Lou, really. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, it helps. This is such a strange year in college football. You look around, like, sure, is Notre Dame going to win a national championship? Probably not. But you see the rest of these teams. There is no 2019 LSU or Alabama of the past decade or Georgia last year. It's like you see the potential in this team and just the uncertainty across the landscape. You see the potential, and you're just like, come on, Marcus, like, get this thing moving, and you never know what could happen. So I just see a ton of potential just slipping away.
And you know what else, Mikey? Let me give you this. See if you agree with this or not. The last 2 weeks have been very hard, okay? Very emotionally and physically taxing. Small margin for error in both games, like the whole world watching, okay? And it hasn't gone perfect, and you won one and lost one. But I keep seeing these strains of play where I feel like I see it and go, that's Freeman's vision for the future, what it should be like all the time. And you get like these little glimpses of what I can see that Freeman's vision is, but they're not far enough along yet to play like that all the time, or they don't have all the guys it takes to play like that all the time. But every once in a while, I see these little windows of time that make me go, damn it, I could see where Freeman wants to get this. It's just not quite fully there yet. Do you feel that at all? Does that make sense?
Oh, it absolutely. Yeah, it definitely makes sense. And I've been saying it all year with Jared Parker's offensive outlook. It's control the clock, limit mistakes, ground and pound football because of our offensive line and our stable of running backs, play to our strengths. But I think the flashy play thing is something that they don't really want to do. They don't want to have a whole lot of high risk because they understand we have a good defense, but they're also bend, don't break. And this is what happens when you don't move the ball. And the defense, for as good as they can be, they're going to give up points here and there. It's just, I don't know. I understand what Parker's trying to accomplish.
You know what you need, Mikey? You know what you need?
It's almost like they get in their own way.
Here's what you need. You need like a 24-point first half against Louisville. And I think it would make everybody feel a little better about it. Like, people are just starting to not like seeing the point totals go down. And then you're having BK Reese flashbacks. Like, the less we score and the more we struggle on the more people have PTSD back from that. Like, why don't you score 17 in the first quarter this week, and then we'll all feel better about it? Like, I need to see it get a little bit more active out there and to make us feel better. And the other thing is, you also want to see Notre Dame score more against Louisville because they're going to have to score a shitload probably against Ohio State. And I want to see that offense start trending back up with the points, not down before those idiots fly to town.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the pressure is going to be on Parker to get this thing rolling because of what you said. With USC come to town, obviously Freeman's not trying to look too far ahead, but he understands that if this offense comes out shaky and not good for the third consecutive game, that is not going to be well for the USC game and then leading into the future of the season. So I'm hoping there's more deep shots. I noticed in the first half there were a few more deep shots than normal, but the offense is just so predictable. I've been saying it. If there was some kind of a prop bet for the first play of every game for Notre Dame, it's run up the middle with that,
dude.
Every time.
So
it's
much of
like
that Duke.
They're waiting for USC to do the play action deep ball.
Mike, so much of that Duke, the offense, it honestly felt like, I'm like, dude, this is the Reese Kelly thing. Run it up the middle into a wall for nothing. Where's the tight end? And that's the offense. Like, that's where I start getting like, oh, no, we're not doing this. We're done with this. Like, but that's what it felt like a little bit. And I hated it.
Yep.
So we need to get out of that. Get these wide receivers healthier. I would like to see them take a few more chances, man. I'm not asking for you to be reckless or irresponsible, but I need you to take a couple more chances against these good defenses to try and push it a little bit. I don't know. Listen, you saved the season at Duke, but people want to see the offense starting to trend back up heading to USC. That's where maybe I think we're out after 2 hours of doing this morning. I don't know.
Hello?
Yep.
Did I lose you?
Yep. I got you.
Oh, there we go. I got you. Yeah, man, this is so it's so frustrating. But like, it does Hartman have the ability to audible and change the play at the line of scrimmage? Because it doesn't seem like he does. I mean, maybe he does, but it seems like he runs the play that the sideline.
Mike Goolsby was talking about that, saying you got a 6-year guy there. You know that he has the clearance to do that. Why is that not happening more? That has come up in the last couple of days. Yes. Where's the play action? Suck them guys in, make them make a decision. Make them make a decision. Are they going to come up to get Hartman or somebody open? A little more movement, a little more deception, a little more. I just need more action.
Yeah, a little bit more, misdirection. Just, I'm not saying, we got to be doing super crazy double reverse flea flickers or something like that, but just a little bit more of some movement in the backfield and getting some guys open in space.
Yeah, man, it's just I don't know, man. We're in the middle of the toughest stretch of the year. I think everybody's wound a little tight. Like it's just where we are. The last 2 weeks have taken decades off all of our lives. Get your affairs in order. It ain't going to get any easier. But Mikey, I'm telling you, a part of me thinks those guys are going to regroup this week, take a big deep breath out. You got through what we needed to get through. And I would be surprised if they don't come out sharper and better against Louisville. I genuinely feel that. You just had to get over the Ohio State hump. You had to get over that Ohio State hangover thing and not let it kill the season. I would be shocked if Notre Dame didn't look way more put together against Louisville. I would be.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're going to look a lot more sharp. Are they going to come out there and blow them out by 40? No. But I think the offense should fare better. This defense is not nearly as good as what they've faced the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I think they'll get the ball rolling.
Yep.
If I had to give an official prediction early on in the week, I'm thinking it'll probably be like a 31-10 kind of game.
Beautiful.
If I had to guess.
Beautiful. It makes me feel a lot better, man. My blood pressure won't be in the death zone by the time I start the post-game show. I would love it. I would sign up for that. Dude, you know how wild it is to have a post-game show that starts 1 minute after the game? And up until the very last second, I have no idea which set of notes I'm going with. It's just wild that it's come down to literally the last play. And I have two different tracks that are completely divergent, man. I ain't made for this stress. I'm going to be so bald, you don't even know, Mike.
You'll be as bald as me.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Dude, I can't even imagine. Then you have to get on there like, I'm so wound up, especially with all these damn night games. I can't go to bed.
Yeah, I know.
I'm up pacing around talking to myself all damn night.
I have had I'm glad you brought that up. I have had trouble falling asleep after both of the last two games where I'm like just too worked up with football thoughts to like turn my mind off. In Ohio State, it was miserable, mad ones. And then this one, it was just kind of letting it all soak in. I have had a very hard time falling asleep after these Saturdays. Mikey, I really appreciate the phone call. How's the wedding planning coming, brother? What, you got a date yet? What are we doing?
No date yet. We just scheduled engagement shoot here in 2 weeks, so that's exciting.
Mike, you know what we should do,
on the date thing,
just let's not say anything to anybody. And then I'm just going to come into your wedding reception and we're just going to have the biggest like party. And then I'm going to put the chain on you to celebrate your wedding. And we're just going to have a fun time. Turn it into the Always Irish tailgate. Your wife's probably like, dude, you're not allowed to have that idiot around here. No, I'm just saying we can turn it into another tailgate event.
I'm in, and she loved you, John. She'll be all for it.
Oh yeah, she loved me, but I think it would change when it comes to that kind of day. But man, I'm happy for you guys, and I'm glad you did it at Notre Dame. And Mikey, that's something you'll remember forever, doing that at Notre Dame. I know for the Clemson game last year, my brother came in from Florida, and him and his wife were pregnant. And we did the gender reveal thing, and I was the one who had the sheet, and we didn't know whether it was a boy. We did all that in the quad by Touchdown Jesus. It's special, man. When you're a Notre Dame family and Notre Dame person, having those moments take place there, it is special, and a good start to your family, Mikey. Anything else on the way out, man? Really good talking to you.
I really appreciate it, John. Thank you for always, checking in on the wedding stuff. I really appreciate that. Nothing else this week right now. Anyway, I might call in later in the week if my mood decides to change and if I hear any more practice reports. All I know is that we need Greathouse back and badly. So.
Yeah, we do. But hey, Mikey, have a good Monday. Thank you for the call. And hey, Notre Dame won, man. It isn't all bad here, okay? Notre Dame won. I love Mikey, nicest guy in the world. Whew. Man, Notre Dame fans, it's rough. It's rough. We covered a lot of ground today. And you know what else, you guys? Here's the other thing I got to say is Saturday nights, it's wild with the calls. Like there's a couple hundred and there's no way I could get people in, and you got to kind of donate to jump the line because it's that busy. We're now getting to the point where even the Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning shows, there's a lot of people lined up and a lot of new people calling. Some of the regular callers that are in the rotation, you got to understand, I feel a obligation. Newer people that had never called yet, to give them a chance to get on the air and spread it out a little bit and keep you guys in the mix. I am trying to navigate the radio show part of this as best as I can, just off the top of my head, the best I can. Growing is a great thing, but I understand you may be frustrated if you waited or didn't get on the air. I'm trying to find a good way to navigate it. There's no perfect solution unless I sit here for 7 hours a day and take every call, give everybody all the time they want. It can't happen. All right, you guys. Covered a lot of ground today. There's always anxiety in Notre Dame land, but I would be surprised. I would, Andrew, exactly. Definitely get the new people on the post-game shows. I've really been trying to look for the numbers that have no call history and then bring them up. Yeah, Hoosier. John fears my call. That's definitely it, man. I'm really scared you're going to say something I won't be able to handle on the fly. I'm really bad at that. You're right. You might catch me off guard while I don't have a response. That's never happened yet. It'll never happen ever. Anyways, I don't even remember what I was saying. All right, I got 2 articles to write, 2 videos to make, a show to join and do an interview later. I got to get going and hit the road. Let me know if Freeman says anything in the post game, in the presser. Thank you for the chats. Thank you for the donations. The call-in line is growing. This call-in show's picking up steam, and it's exactly what I needed. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Have a good one. Be nice to each other. See ya.